You are watching Sway in the morning. Only on Shade 45, the home of the MC. Wake up. Sway in the morning. You heard? Stay tuned.
Justice from a system that seems to provide none.
Wow. Ooh. That's from a clip, Heather B. From a documentary that's coming on. It's a BT News documentary special, Who Got the Juice? The OJ Simpson trial 20 years later. And it's premiering tonight at 10 p.m. on BET. And it's directed by acclaimed filmmaker, if you will, amongst other things, world-renowned journalist, hip-hop enthusiast, the creative director of Mass Appeal.
Wow.
What's your title for Eagle Trip?
Co-founder.
Co-founder of Eagle Trip.
1994, y'all.
Wow, people know.
Yeah, people know,
some
man.
history of
Y'all know, man. We know from the rap list on down, man. Your work has you're one person out of few that I can go to and reference and find out information that I don't have to second guess, that I can trust. You know what I mean? Like if Sacha Jenkins had anything to do with it, I feel like, okay, this is legitimate. The research has been done.
Right.
It's going to have journalistic integrity. It won't have an agenda. It won't have a bias. It will definitely be the truth of whatever that topic and subject matter is. And so to have you be a part of this documentary, that's something I will watch right after I watch Empire, because I'll be premiering on Empire tonight.
Yeah, I see how you do it.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Sacha Jenkins, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello,
Thank
Sacha.
Black people will be watching TV tonight. So after, y'all can, flip the switch and go to BET.
That's
watch some
right.
more black programming.
Go from Fox to BET, right?
Right.
And then my brother has on MTV2 on Common Sense. We got Charlamagne has that on MTV2.
Right.
So you got to watch that too. Be flipping back and forth.
Yes.
All right. 20 years later, what made you guys in BET decide to do this, and what's its purpose?
Well, I mean, the trial kind of split America down the middle.
Yeah.
And not much has changed in 20 years. And it just seems like with all the stuff that's going on with folks of color right now, and OJ still being locked down, there were a lot of things to discuss. And a lot of people were curious about where OJ was and how people still felt about it. And surprisingly, people still feel very passionately about it.
Black people celebrated when he was acquitted of murder, right? Like we ran into the streets and had a jamboree.
Crack jamboree, yeah.
It was a party. It was a party.
It's true.
Block party.
And it's unfortunate because, people were murdered. And we were celebrating that he was off. And I'm not sure if we were celebrating because we believed he was innocent necessarily.
Right.
My celebration back then, I didn't celebrate, but I thought it was interesting and ironic. Like it felt like some, I don't know, it sounds crappy, but kind of felt like justice was done in the sense that black folks have been complaining about the judicial system for so long that it's dysfunctional, it's unfair, it's prejudice, and a lot of folks are being convicted of crimes and sentenced because of those crimes, heavily because of who they are. And a lot of folks are being acquitted of crimes because of the color of their skin. And this time it felt like one of us kind of beat the system.
Well, one of us who had the means and the resources was able to play the game on the level that a lot of Caucasian Americans have been able to play the game, and Caucasian Americans who were being looked at for crimes that they may or may not have committed, and were fully equipped with the right legal team. I mean, he had the most gangster legal team in the history of America.
Yeah.
So, he played the game. He played by the rules, and then supposedly won, and was still, hated on. Still, someone who was public enemy number one.
Yeah.
I actually got to see the documentary. My name is DB, by the way, and there was an interesting bit of info that now that he's locked up for this crime about the burglary thing, and he's supposed to be eligible for parole in 2 years because he's 68 now.
Right.
let's just say he does get out, hypothetically speaking. What the hell can OJ do now? I mean, what's left for him? I mean, he really can't do anything in Hollywood, you know.
Well, the way the world works now, in that people are so thirsty for fame and attention and how many likes and followers, they get. People posing with OJ on the street, people are looking for likes. They'll get a lot of likes and thumbs up. In this world of celebrity, whether you're infamous or not, there are opportunities. So I don't know how many people are going to show up for an OJ, book signing. But the way the world works right now, anything's possible. And again, for the crime that he was most, scrutinized for allegedly doing, according to the system, he didn't do it. So it's all about the court of personal opinion with OJ at this point, because Star Jones says in the film, I asked, what do you really, was he guilty or not? And she said, look, if it was up to me, it's the same answer I gave 20 years ago. If I was on that jury based on the evidence, I would have said that he was not guilty.
Based on evidence.
Based on the evidence.
Speaking that you said the court of public opinion, a lot of people were not happy about his choices and like the stuff he was doing in his life. Once he was found not guilty, he was playing golf like nothing happened. He was kind of just like, hell yeah, I'm chilling. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good now. And then now you see guys like George Zimmerman, who's retweeting pictures of like Trayvon Martin's body. He's kind of just like flaunting the fact that he got off, and when really he should just be like kind of being quiet and staying to himself. Does that equate to the same thing?
Well, George Zimmerman is clearly mentally ill, and he looks Latino to me, and he is half Latino. So the whole race thing with Zimmerman is really confusing. And with OJ, I mean, most people in the film said like, yo, OJ, like your friend and colleague Davey D said, yo, if it was me and I came off of what I was accused of and I was found innocent, I would have bounced. Like, why am I still, messing around? He did some crazy like Jackass styled video where he was doing really coonish and buffoonish stuff because, hey, let's make OJ a coon, and OJ will be a coon because he needs money at this point, sadly, because actually he was raising his kids. Believe it or not, OJ had to raise money to raise his kids. Have you heard or heard anything about his kids?
No.
Because they've quietly, one thing OJ always pleaded for was the media to please like give his kids a break. And when you consider what they had been through, the fact that their mother had been murdered while they were asleep, it's pretty interesting that media has kind of been hands off. But you don't hear about them spazzing out or doing anything crazy. So OJ, did what he had to do to make money. And of course, in America, as a black man who's, being looked at for murdering some white people, hey, why don't you coon it up for some money, OJ? And he did because it was what he had to do. But he also didn't make the best decisions. I can't justify some of the decisions he made after that. I mean, playing golf, he clearly liked to do it. Could he have played less golf?
Should
Maybe.
have written books or
Right.
writing a book about it.
But the money goes to the Brown family, correct? That didn't he get sued?
Well, there was some interesting loophole because he moved to Florida. So there's all kinds of interesting laws, which is very smart.
Florida, man.
There are things that couldn't be touched because he lived in Florida. So
got it.
He might be crazy, but he's not stupid.
He's not stupid, right?
Now, Sacha, with your history in journalism, 1997 being the music editor over at Vibe, writing for Rolling Stone Spin, it would be remiss of me not to just bring in some topics in the digital space with media. And I'm always asking like youngsters that even come here just who want to intern for Sway in the Morning, the different sites that they go to get their information from. We are always having a conversation about clickbait and who can you trust when sometimes we even see a CNN and a Complex have the same headline.
Right.
So what are some of those sites you think that we should still go to and still are trustworthy?
That's a really good question. You're talking to a guy who has no Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I have no social media presence as Sacha Jenkins because I'm paranoid, and it's easy to get lost in all the information. I think people have to learn to find a couple of sources that they trust, because there's so much. I mean, is it the New York Times? Is it Vice? I mean, what is it? I can't really give that answer. I think a lot of it boils down to your own personal politics. You know, shout out to Ben Carson, who's in the. Just saw him out there.
Ben Carson is in the hallway?
He's in the building.
He's in the building.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're a fan of Ben Carson, there might be sites that lean more towards where his philosophy is. And, you know, it's hard for young people because when I started, I started doing graffiti zines in the 80s, and then I did a hip-hop newspaper called Beatdown. Then I did Ego Trip, and I did it at a time when there wasn't a lot of competition, right? I was a special kid. Now I'm not a special kid.
There's Complex and BuzzFeed. Their entire structure is based off lists.
Yeah, and you have your own social media presence. And I have my own Tumblr or whatever. I don't need mass appeal. You know, people have their own identities, and I think it's great, this sense of like having your own identity and owning it.
Yeah.
But the amount of stress that a young person might have to sort of keep up with the likes, to me, is just. I'm just
It's
an
a
old
lot.
man. I can't even think about it.
Sacha Jenkins, film director. Tonight, make sure you watch it, 10 p.m. Who Got the Juice? The OJ Simpson trial. 20 years later, it'll be on BET. He brought me some gifts, Heather B.
Let's see him.
He brought me the 2 Mass Appeal magazines.
Nice.
Right? Eric, Andre, and Tyler, the creator, on this one. What made you bring me this one? What makes you think I don't have this one already?
Oh, I don't know. I know you're in the streets. I'm just saying. I left the office. Why not bring a gift?
Thank you.
You gave me the gift of a platform. The least I could do is come with magazines.
Absolutely. You got
That's love.
Kendrick Lamar too on this one, spring summer 2015 issue. I love this cover.
Great cover.
Real quick, man. One rapper who right now of a new generation that's important to you.
Well, I really like Your Old Droog.
Your Old Droog.
Wow.
And fun fact, I discovered Your Old Droog.
Okay.
And then there was this whole conspiracy that came up because, me and Nas are very cool. Nas is a partner in Mass Appeal, and we went to the same really crappy junior high school where they told us we can be nothing other than people who can fix air conditioners. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But some people heard a similarity in his voice, which I didn't necessarily hear. So people created this whole crazy conspiracy, like it's Nas and Sacha Jenkins is involved or whatever. But in terms of just being really creative and how his mind works and how he flows, I mean, I've interviewed lots of great people. I've had the opportunity to interview Eminem and do his book, and much respect to him. And I'm appreciative of the platform that this has afforded me, Eminem. But in terms of like a young cat who's out here doing his thing, he's great. I just think he's such an amazing writer. And for me, it boils down to writing. I mean, I could get on my old man soapbox and talk about the things that kids are rapping about now. I can say it's cheerleader music. I can say drugs are being glorified. And people could have said those things about that, and during my generation. But I really miss creativity. I really miss like someone just being a writer and expressing themselves and not caring about likes and not caring about like having a feature with this one or that one. And I really feel like he's that kid. And, he's Ukrainian, but grew up in Brooklyn. So he has a very particular voice. And to me, that just shows you the power of hip hop. It's gone beyond where I grew up in Queens or where you grew up on the West Coast. And it's influenced the world and can change lives. And, he's on tour now.
Yeah.
He's making music and he's doing what he really wants to do. I mean, is he going to sell millions of records? I don't really know. But he's become a working, successful musician, doing what he really feels great about and what makes him happy. So for me, I'm happy to see that. Your Old Droog. He's been here.
Yeah.
He's been on the show. Funny guy, too. Great sense of humor. And I agree with you about writing. Sacha Jenkins, thank you. Thank you for coming by, man. Come back.
Have me. Hello, Thank you, everyone.
You're more than welcome to come back.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shea 45. Kilo.